within, they hold me tight. In the dark, I lose my fight.
Chapter 19. Unspoken. Patricia poured 2 mugs of coffee and set them on the table just as Derrick walked through the door. His boots dragged against the floor, shoulders slumped, eyes red-rimmed as though sleep hadn't touched him all night. The uniform hung heavy on him, not like work clothes, but like armor he didn't want to wear. "Hey," she said softly, sliding his mug across the table. "You okay?" He didn't sit. He just stood there, staring at the floor like the words he needed were scattered there and none of them would fit. "Pat?" His voice cracked, low and uneven. He swallowed hard. "Just don't reach out to David." Her hand froze on the mug. "What? Why not?" He shook his head, eyes closing for a moment as if the words themselves hurt. I don't think he can talk to us. Not right now." Patricia's stomach dropped. The way he said it, not like David wouldn't, but like he couldn't, sent a cold ripple down her spine. "What are you saying?" Derrick's jaw tightened. His hand raked across his face like he could scrub the thought away. He wouldn't meet her eyes. "Derrick," she pressed, her voice trembling, "when you said that, it sounded like David was never going to talk to us again." He looked at her sharply, but his silence was answer enough. "You know that's not what I said," he muttered finally, weary, the words more defensive than convincing. Patricia leaned back, heart pounding. "No, you didn't say it, but it felt like it." He let out a long, tired breath and turned toward the window, shoulders bowed. "He was a good grandpa," she said softly. "And as far as I could tell, he did the best he could with Carla. He was a good father, even if he was just my stepdad." Derrick said nothing. His fists flexed once at his sides. "Something's wrong," Patricia whispered. "Isn't it?" His voice dropped to a whisper, raw around the edges. "I told you. Just leave it alone." He touched the mug, but didn't drink. His body sagged with exhaustion. "I'm going to bed. Love you." The words landed flat, evasive, like a curtain pulled down. Patricia stood hugging him tightly, but he barely responded. She kissed his cheek and let him go, her chest tightening as she watched him shuffle down the hall. He hadn't lied, but he hadn't told her the truth either. "Tomorrow," she promised herself. "Tomorrow I'll see David." Her day was already full. Groceries, new shoes for Jacob, a quick stop for summer clothes before school crept up. She wanted everything in order. But even while crossing off her list, her mind drifted back to Derrick's cracked voice, to the finality in his words, to the silence from David that grew louder with every hour. Derrick never lied, not outright, but this wasn't honesty either. He was distant, avoidant. And when she tried texting David earlier, still nothing. She even called once, straight to voicemail. Patricia stared at the phone too long before shoving it back into her purse. Tomorrow, she thought again. She'd drive over. He'd always welcomed her. He'd always been gentle with Jacob, fatherly in a quiet way that steadied her when her own life felt loud and uncertain. Whatever was going on, he would want her to know. Groceries were easy. Jacob lit up when he found sneakers with neon soles and a brand she'd never heard of. She smiled anyway and bought them without hesitation. Back at home, she cooked steak and rosemary potatoes, Derrick's favorite. He'd be heading back out soon, and she wanted him fed. It was her way of loving him. On his days off, he returned the favor. Pancakes, bacon, humming while he worked. Their meals weren't just food, they were rituals, traditions, small blessings stitched into the fabric of their days. But even as the house filled with the smell of seared meat, a heaviness pressed at her chest. Why hadn't he told her? Why did it feel like the world was tilting, even when everything looked so normal? She cleaned up dinner with Jacob, both of them moving in rhythm. Her washing, him drying, laughing about shoes and school and snacks they'd forgotten at the store. It was easy, it was safe, it was normal. Later, they curled up under a blanket with a bowl of popcorn. Jacob picked the movie, a glowing swords anime he used to watch with Grandpa David. Patricia didn't follow the plot, but she didn't care. She wasn't watching the screen, she was watching her phone. Carla hadn't replied either. Not a call, not a text, not even one of her silly little photos. Last she'd said she was staying in Norman, hanging out with friends. Days ago. Patricia wasn't the type to obsess. Carla was a storm cloud, always floating in and out. But this silence felt different. Maybe David knew. Maybe he always knew. She brushed a strand of hair from Jacob's forehead as he leaned against her, lost in the flashing battle on screen. He didn't need to worry. Not yet. Tomorrow. Tomorrow she'd drive to David's. After the movie, she sent Jacob to tidy his room and slipped into her nightly routine. Vacuum, sweep, laundry, wipe down the bathrooms. It was therapeutic. Every corner gleaming, every task complete. One more piece of her life in order. Derrick was already pulling on his uniform by the time she finished. He seemed even more distant now, eyes hollow with fatigue. She hugged him, kissed him, and packed his lunch. She told him she loved him. He muttered it back, distracted, then turned away and left for work. The sound of the door shutting behind him felt heavier than usual, and Patricia stood in the quiet kitchen a moment longer before turning out the lights. She showered, changed into something soft, and slid into bed. Tomorrow, Derrick had the night off. They'd talked about bowling, maybe a movie. She didn't care what, as long as they were together. But just as her eyes closed, a different weight settled low in her stomach. Not about David this time, about her sisters. Patricia rarely had gut feelings, but when she did, they meant something. She picked up her phone. To Elizabeth. "Hey sis, you good? Just thinking about you." To Cynthia. "Check in when you can. Had one of those weird gut feelings." She set the phone down, not expecting replies. Probably asleep, she thought with a wry smile. No one in this family wants to answer me. Just to be sure, she sent one more message. To Derrick. "I love you, honey." The reply came instantly. Derrick. "Love you more, little squeak." Patricia rolled her eyes. She hated that nickname, but it still made her laugh. Patricia, call me Squeak again, and I'll never make another squeak for you, if you know what I mean. Derrick. Oops. Autocorrect must be broken. Love you more, beautiful, followed by way too many hearts. Too many for any sane man to send. She grinned, typed back a quick, "That's better." Night. Love you, and read his final night before setting the phone aside. Smile on her lips, heaviness in her chest. Patricia drifted to sleep. Charlie gripped the steering wheel tighter as the miles disappeared behind him. His eyes were wide, wild with purpose. He wasn't just driving, he was gliding on pure adrenaline. The sky was still dark, but he didn't care. By sunrise, he'd be in Patricia's neighborhood. He had a mission, and nothing was going to stop him. He'd timed everything perfectly. Derrick would still be on shift, unaware. Patricia would be home with Jacob, 2 birds with 1 stone. And when she heard that knock at the door, when she thought her mom might finally be reaching out, she'd answer without hesitation, especially with Carla's phone sending a message, pretending she'd just learned about David being dead. She'd probably been waiting all week for Carla to reach out. Wondering, worrying, perfect bait. Charlie chuckled to himself, then burst into a full-blown laugh. It was jagged, manic, echoing inside the car. He started swaying left and right, tapping the steering wheel like a drum, dancing in his seat to a song only he could hear. He'd even taken Carla's car, Carla's money, her cards. She was funding her own family's downfall, and she didn't even know it yet. The thought made him laugh harder. Oh, that was going to sting when she found out. Even the hotel room he stayed at was under her name. Every digital trail pointed to her, every receipt, every video, every key. She's gonna get blamed for everything, and they'll never find her. They never found the others, he sang under his breath. Then he began chanting, gleeful and sing-song. Carla, 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 Elizabeth, Cynthia, Patricia. I'm coming, Patricia. You're my next friend. I'll show you your end. He giggled, nodding proudly. He thought his song was clever. Carla was still tucked in that chair, quiet and broken, like a doll someone had forgotten. He'd wake her later. No need to disturb her just yet. He wanted her fully awake for the final act. The best part was coming. The finale. And Patricia, Jacob. They'd be the grand surprise.
Eyes tell stories, lips won't dare. Ghost of sentences linger there. Every pause a sharpened blade. Every heartbeat digs the grave. The silence bends, it's breaking near. A truth too loud for me to breathe. Unspoken, familiar and clear. Unspoken, but I hear it clear. The truth is closer than my fear. It cuts like thunder, sharp on sea. I drown beneath the weight between dreaded whispers, cold and low. A truth I'm not prepared to know. But even if I turn